What's going on, guys? Welcome to the video. Today we're going to talk about lease purchase programs, and I urge you to finish this video, watch this video to the entirety before you jump into the lease purchase program. There's a better way, guys. I'm telling you, there's a better way. Lease purchase is a scam. And before you guys get offended and jump down in the comments, please just watch the entirety of the video. There is some pluses and along with the negatives of lease ops versus being a real quote unquote owner operator. I don't know. It's such a technical, loose term. By the definition of owner operator, I'm not even really an owner operator, even though I've got my own truck, my own trailer, my own MC, my own authority. But since I do actually work with brokers, based on that, if you get really technical about it, I'm not even considered an owner operator. So, because being an owner operator means you are the owner of the business and you do the work as well. And well, I don't have my own customers. So technically, like I said, it's a loose subject. It's very broad. So we're just going to talk about the lease purchases, such as like Swift, JB, Snyder, all the mega carriers. And we're going to talk about that. And now, guys, I'm telling you, it is a scam. And it is a scam. And I'm going to crunch numbers. And I'm going to show you the difference. I mean, it's the difference of night and day. The thing I do like about a lease purchase is a lot of times it's hard to get into the industry and buy a truck through a bank, a lender, and such, because you got to have a crazy credit score. You got to have a crazy background in trucking. It's actually harder to buy a truck than it is a house. So if you find yourself and you don't have the credit and don't have the means to buy a house, buying a truck is even going to be harder. It's just such a high risk of fail rate. Banks don't want to lend on it. So the alternative to that is, in the companies, they basically use a predatory approach to give you a lease purchase. They fit the bill and own the truck and let you drive it and make you feel all warm and fuzzy and say you're an owner operator, when you're technically not, because you don't really have any skin in the game. It's just if something goes awry, you can jump out of that truck and jump into the next lease. So it's not really quote unquote a real owner operator. But it is making it available to put you in a truck and feel warm and fuzzy. The thing about it is, getting into a lease, it benefits that carrier, that company that puts you in their truck. First off, they're getting that truck for cost or low price because they're buying it volume. Say they give 140 for it and they're selling it to you for 240, 250. They're making all that profit. So now they're not only making money in you hauling their cheap freight, they're also making money by marking up the price of that truck. That's with the companies that have their own equipment. I don't know about the ones that go through Penske, Ryder, and such. I'm just talking about the ones that basically, if you jump out of that truck, they're going to put another driver in within their company. So they're making money on both ends of it, trucking and truck sales. Now, also, it costs them less money to make you a 1099, an independent contractor. They're going to make you feel all warm and fuzzy and say you're an IC. But here's the deal. It's cheaper for them to do that. As a business, it's easier, cheaper for me to sub work out than make you a W-2 employee, because I don't have to pay no workers' comp, none of that stuff on you, because you're an IC. But the biggest reason I say it's a scam is if you go out there and you have an accident and you cause a major wreck, a major fatality wreck, or just think of the worst. If News Channel 9 or 6 or 2 or whatever, wherever you live, come to the company and says, hey, what do you got to say about your driver that blah, blah, blah? The company's going to say, well, that's not our driver. That's an independent contractor. So what, to me, now I'm a truck driver, so let me know in the comments if I'm wrong here. But to me, what makes sense is it takes away liability to help their company save face in the event of a bad accident. So strike number one, they're making money on the truck with you. Strike number two, it's cheaper to make you a 1099 versus an IC. Number three, takes away all the liability. So to me, that's what makes sense. But let's get real down nitty gritty into the numbers. Wait, I'm getting ahead of myself. I will give you a small caveat right here. If you find yourself and you can't get a truck, one thing I do like about a lease purchase is it gives you a little more reign to run. It gives you a little more freedom. If you want to dedicate 6 months in a lease purchase, I'm going to suggest this really highly. Get in a lease purchase and save your money. Don't get out here and go be a little bit well above your means. Get in that truck, stay poor, stay broke, and stack your money. And stack it $5,000, $10,000, $15,000. And as one of my best friends said a long time ago, was talking on the phone, he said, if a guy can't go to a company as a lease guy or a company guy and save $5,000, he damn sure don't need to buy a truck. Because you get into this game, the money, you need access to money sometimes. Most of the time, it's unexpected. 2 weeks ago, I had my truck in the shop. That was over a $9,000 bill. So if I didn't have access to those funds, I would be out of business. So with that being said, if you can get into a lease purchase to give you a little more freedom on how you want to run, dedicate 6 months and go hard. Save $5,000, $10,000. And there's companies out here. I'm a fan of Lone Mountain. Lone Mountain has a lease purchase program. But the thing about it is, when you buy that truck from them, you know what you're paying for it. There's no balloon at the end of it. They've got low down payments anywhere from $3,000 to $4,000 to $5,000 to $6,000 on a late model truck. And payments are usually reasonable. And I've seen them as low as $800 a month, around $1,400, $1,500 a month on a late model used 3, 4, 5-year-old tractor. That would be my suggestion. Also, if you know of companies like Long Mountain, I know Snyder Lease has got something like that, and there's a couple other companies. I can't remember them off the top of my head. I've got friends that has those kind of trucks, and they're available to do whatever they want to with that truck. They're not held down by the company, a trucking company, so to speak. They can take that truck to Landstar, Mercer, one of these owner-op companies where you're going to fare well and make a lot more money. So in the numbers, what I've comprised is examples in numbers versus, say, a Landstar owner-op versus, say, a Swift Roadrunner. I'm going to use Roadrunner's numbers because I know their units. I worked there for almost 4 years, so I know their units of how they charge. So I'm going to compare the two, and then we're going to get down to the end of the month net, and we're going to compare it apples to apples. And yeah, I had to take notes, guys. I had to crunch all these numbers. As a matter of fact, the numbers are so crazy, I had to crunch my numbers 4 different times because I thought this can't be right. It can't be right. So what I've done is I've based 2 different operations, apples to apples, 2,500 miles, both getting 6 miles to the gallon, both given $5 a mile for fuel, and which that's the apples to apples. The difference is how much you pay for that truck and trailer and insurance versus also the difference in how much you make per mile. We're going to go with Roadrunner's plan right here. When I was there, this was some years ago, so it might have changed. Some of these numbers might have changed. I don't know correct numbers, but as long as you're diving into new companies, the numbers aren't going to be too far off. Some of them might not be a per mile basis, but some of them might be a 50% of the load, 60%, 70%, and what have you. Just know the numbers and what I'm about to show you, and you can adjust it accordingly to what you're looking at in a lease purchase. So Roadrunner, I've got them down at $1.10 a mile. When I was there, it was $1.05 a mile plus fuel surcharge. So I'm gonna bump it up 5 cents. Today, I looked up the fuel surcharge. The fuel surcharge today is 85 cents a mile, given, or gallon, whatever, given that you get 100% fuel surcharge. So based on this math, at $1.10 plus 85-cent fuel surcharge comes to $1.95. Now, if this truck runs 2,500 miles a week, that's going to gross $4,875 on a course of 4 weeks. We're just going to go 4 weeks here, not a month, just 4 weeks. On the course of 4 weeks, that comes to $19,500. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Let's take away the fuel. 2,500 miles, right? Divided by, or 2,500 miles divided by 6 miles to the gallon times by $5 per gallon. It comes to $8,333 a month. And that's going to drop it down to $6,000. Well, let's start back over here because I lost my train of thought and my place on this page. Let's say you got, at the end of the month, you got gross $19,500. The fuel, $8,333, leaving you $6,447. Now, based on what Roadrunner had for a lease purchase, their trucks was like $800 a week. I think they're more than that now. So, but we're just, for the sake of this video and example, we're going to go with $800. That comes to $3,200 a month. We're going to use, again, when I was there, the trailer rental fee was $250 a week. It might be different now. I'm just going to say it was what it was when I was there. And insurance, when I was there, it's a little $400, so I'm just going to say $500. But I'm doing apples to apples on both companies, even if the numbers are wrong. That comes to $4,700. So if you take that $4,700 monthly expense out of that $6,467, it's going to leave you a weekly net of $1,616.75. So if you tally that to 52 weeks, if you was to be able to run that every week, which you can't, you're a little over $70,000 a year net, which is decent, but you're running your ass off. Now, here's something I don't really like about the week-to-week deal. If you're running out here and you're running week to week to week to week, as long as you're working, the payments are coming out on the weekly settlement, and you're always in the black. But if you want to go home and say take a week off, well, you go home. If that truck is $800 a week and the trailer's $250 a week, and they adjust all your other expenses and break them down into a weekly, you go home, even though you're sitting at home, you still accrued $1,000, $1,200, $1,300 in the red. So when you come back the following week, you start out behind the 8 ball. So not only do you have to run all week and make that coming up settlement truck payment, you're still trying to catch up last week's too. So this paycheck, it's going to be double. I mean, you go home for a week and then spend 3 weeks trying to get back into the black on that model. I mean, it's terrible, guys. And I can't stress enough, a weekly lease, like I said, if you're going to get into it 4 or 6 months, hit hard and stack all your money, and then go another route, that's the only way I'd say go that lease. Otherwise, you never get any quality home time. You never get home time with your family. But I'm getting ahead of myself here, and let's get back to that. Leaves you a weekly net of $1,616 per week. Now, let's jump on to the Landstar model. The Landstar model, this is, you go somewhere and you got a truck that's $1,500 a month. You've got a trailer that's $400 a month. You've got insurance of $500 a month. Your monthly on truck, trailer, and insurance is $2,400. Now, if you run the same model for 2,500 miles a week, and we're going to go with $3 a mile now because you're up in the big boys, you're getting $3 a mile. On all that, 2,500 miles a week times 3, that's $7,500. All right, $7,500 weekly gross. If you tally that by 4, it comes to $30,000. So we're already leaps and bounds difference, $30,000 versus $19,500. It's already over a $10,000 difference, but it's even worse than that. Now, 2,500 miles divided by 6 miles to the gallon at $5 a gallon, you're going to accrue the same expense, $2,083 a week or $8,333 a month. Let's say you got you do that and you got $30,000 a month gross. After fuel, you've got $8,333, and after your cheap truck, trailer, and insurance payment of $2,400, that leaves you a monthly net of $19,267. It divided by 4 leaves you a weekly net of $4,816. Now, how do you go from $1,600 to $4,800? The difference there is the $1,600 a week scam on this model I'm giving you is a scam. It's just a scam, guys. There's a better way of doing it. Like I said, I'm not against lease purchases. The thing I'm against them is this. It just don't make sense. You work the same amount of hours, you pull the same amount of load, you pull the same amount of hours of work day, the fuel, everything. You're pulling the same thing, but the difference is the money in your pocket, which at the end of the day, the only reason we're doing this is for money. There is nobody out here trucking just to be trucking. Unless you're old, retired, and you're just trucking for fun. I get that. But I'm just saying, majority of us out here, we truck to make money. Otherwise, we'd be at home enjoying time with our family and doing fun stuff versus kicking rocks down I-70. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, it just makes sense. Guys, I hope this made sense. If not, I'm going to leave this up right here. And I hope you screenshot that. If you didn't screenshot that, back it back up, do a screenshot, crunch the numbers in your own head, get an idea of what I was talking about, because I don't even make sense of what I just said. But putting it down on paper, guys, there's a big difference. Owner op versus lease op. There's a huge difference. And the lease purchase way is just, there's not a lot of money in it, guys. a lot of hassle, a lot of headache, a lot of stress. Most guys I know that's went down the lease purchase program, they ended up losing everything they had. They went back and they're just working back home. They gave up on their dream because they see it as a scam, as a you can't get above ground. Also, a lot of guys in the comments, today's trucking is dead. There's no money in it anymore. Possibly those guys are in lease purchase programs, and they don't have access to keep more at the end of the month. That's what it's all about, guys. There's a smarter way of doing it, and I suggest the owner-operator way. If you get into a lease purchase, like I said, use it, hit it hard, get out. And if you're interested in what I'm talking about on how to get out of that and go into the owner-op game in a different means, stick around, subscribe, give me a thumbs up, because I'm going to put some videos together in the near future on what I would do if I was to have to buy a truck again and I've got shitty credit. So anyways, guys, remember, it ain't about how far you go in life that matters. It matters how far you go in life, adding quality and values to others. Until that next video, guys, see you, bye.